real story behind International Women's Day. In early 1900s, life for working women in industrial cities was brutal. Factories in places like New York City employed thousands of immigrant women. Many were teenagers, some were as young as 13. They worked in textile and garment factories. Their typical day looked like this. Work shift lasted 12 to 16 hours. Factories were crowded and poorly ventilated. Pay was often half of what men earned. Doors were sometimes locked during shift so workers could not leave early. Owners believed strict control prevented theft and increasing productivity. For the workers, it meant something else. If something went wrong inside the factory, escape might not be possible. The protest in 1908, thousands of female garment workers walked out of their factories. They marched through New York City streets demanding shorter workdays, safer working conditions, fair wages, the right to vote. All the time, women in the United States could not vote. The protest was dangerous. Factory owners often blacklisted workers who joined strikes. If your name was on that list, you might never find work again. For poor immigrant families, losing a job could mean starvation or homelessness. So every woman who joined the protest made a real decision. Stay silent and keep your job or protest and risk losing everything. The fire that changed everything. 3 years later, in 1911, a disaster proved the workers had been right. Inside a garment factory in Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, a fire broke out. It became known as the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory Fire. The flames spread quickly across piles of fabric. Workers ran to the exit. Some doors were locked. Some stairways filled with smoke. The fire escape collapsed under the weight of people trying to escape. Within minutes, 146 workers died. Most of them were young, immigrant women. Some jumped from the building to escape the flames. Crowds on the street watched it happen. The turning point, the tragedy, shocked the public. People realized the protesting workers had been telling the truth about factory conditions. Soon after, governments began introducing new workplace safety laws. The disaster also strengthened the global movement for women's rights. A few years later, activists across Europe and America began marking a day dedicated to women's rights struggles. Eventually, that day became International Women's Day, March 8th. Where is it celebrated today? Today, the International Women's Day is celebrated in more than 100 countries around the world. It's widely observed in countries like US, Brazil, Spain, Italy, Germany, China, Russia, India, Nepal. In some places, such as Russia, it is even treated as a public holiday. However, the day is not widely celebrated or is much less prominent in some countries, including Japan, South Korea, Saudi Arabia. In these countries, the day may be recognized, but it is not a major public celebration. The real choice. But the most important part of the story is not the protest, it's the decision those workers faced. Imagine you are a young factory worker in 1908. Your family depends on your wage. If you protest, you could lose your job. Your
Please, sir, I
employer
must work
could
today.
blacklist
No,
you.
you're on the list.
Your
Move along.
family
But I have nowhere else.
lose their income. If you stay silent, nothing changes. The factory remains dangerous. People may continue dying. You have one decision: breaks everything to demand change, or stay quiet to protect your family. So imagine you are standing outside the factory gates. Other workers are beginning to march. Your name could be recorded by the factory owner. If you join them, your life might become harder. If you don't, nothing may ever improve. What would you do?